Hey, how's it going guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be checking out 5 beginners tips for new players in Assassin's Creed Origins. So let's just jump straight into it. When we do need to infiltrate a camp, you want to make sure you're waiting until nighttime to do so. This will ensure that there are less guards around the camp, as many of them will be sleeping in the huts, making your stay at the camp a lot less troublesome. If you don't fancy waiting around until nightfall, I'm sure most of you have figured out by now that one of the first abilities you can unlock is called Dusk and Dawn, which allows you to instantly pass time without having to wait around. So it's going to be very useful for this situation. Second of all, this one is going to be very obvious for all of you expert assassins out there, but you want to make sure you're unlocking all the sync points for the fast travel. What this means is every time you see one of these lookouts, one of these watchtowers, you want to make sure you're activating them so you can fast travel back here whenever you like in the game. This is extremely useful as it saves so much time. Apart from the benefit of being able to fast travel back whenever you like, you also get 100 XP for each one you unlock, plus Senu's perception level goes up. So these are extremely useful and you want to get them done as many as possible as soon as possible. For those of you who are completely new to the game, to find these sync spots, all you've got to do is press up on the D-pad to use Senu and scout out for this icon we can see right here on the screen. Track it with the X button. Once you've done this, all we need to do is simply climb up there. Something else that is extremely important in Assassin's Creed Origins are going to be the upgrade materials. I can't stress enough how important these are. Every time you go to a new area, you want to make sure you're scouting out the area, finding new materials, and upgrading your gear. There are a few different pieces of gear you can choose to upgrade, some giving you more damage on your ranged weapons, some giving you more melee damage, some giving you more HP. So you can choose, depending on which sort of class you're planning on playing, which one you want to upgrade first and which materials you should be farming. But I repeat, you do want to be farming these as often as possible. For those of you maybe dozed off during a tutorial mission, to find materials, you need to do is send Senu out on a scout, find the material you're looking for, track it down, then simply go and retrieve the material you're looking for. Quick side note, at the start of your playthrough, you will be given 200 free Elix credits. These are essentially the currency you can trade real money for in-game for special upgrades and things to make your life easier. So in case you're not interested in spending any real money on the game, which is the case for most of us, I would definitely recommend spending these 200 on the basic materials pack, which gives you 30 of each basic material. This will allow you to get some extra levels on your gear very early on in the game. Next up is something that's nowhere near as important as the rest of the things on this list, but it's still something worth noting, and it's definitely worth knowing. In Origins, you're going to be spending a lot of time in flames, which means you're going to be burning quite oftenly. So the obvious and most effective answer to this is jumping into water as soon as possible if you have some nearby. But what happens if we don't have any water? What is the most effective way of putting out the flames? This is pretty intuitive. Bam the square button or the dodge button, depending on your system, and this will put out the flames almost instantly. Very often, this is going to be even quicker than getting to the closest body of water, so this is going to be pretty useful. The reason I say this isn't extremely important is simply because the flames normally extinguish themselves relatively quickly even if you don't do anything. But if you're in an area where there's many flames and you're getting burnt continuously many times in a row, this could save your life a couple of times. Now, for the fifth, last but not least, tip we're going to be giving you today is going to be regarding the Papyri Scrolls. And each one of these scrolls will give you a tip to a location where you can find a hidden treasure. These treasures are always going to be legendary or rare gear, which is obviously really cool. So the tip here would be try not to loot these scrolls too early on in the game. The reason being because the later in the playthrough you wait to get these, the more powerful these rare and legendary gear are going to be. So obviously you don't want to farm them too early. For those of you who have played Destiny, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do not worry about accidentally picking up some of the scrolls. That is fine. What you don't want to do is actually loot the treasure that the scroll leads to. Unless you're really desperate for some nice gear, maybe. They are very cool weapons. Another thing I should definitely note is that these are not set treasures, as in we could go to the same place and loot the same one, and it's not necessarily going to lead to the exact same weapon or the exact same piece of gear. So those are my top 5 most important things you should definitely know when starting out in Assassin's Creed Origins. If you have any other ideas, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments down below. Please hit that like button if you did find this helpful. Subscribe for more content coming very soon, and we'll see you next time.